Hey there, welcome back to Hot Buns, everybody. The show about hot sauce, but even hotter people. Today's guest is a YouTuber who has been active since 2021, making videos talking about video games, books, and things that are generally unimportant. He does make videos that people have watched occasionally. Now, Carrie the Snail, if I get this right, people have watched your videos? Yeah, that's right. Some people have watched my videos. I honestly can't believe it. Wow. Yeah, I can't believe that either. Well, some of those people have some questions for you that I'd like to ask. Are you ready? Yeah, of course. Let's do it. Awesome. But first, we got something a little prepared for you that you're going to need to eat before you answer these questions. Oh, yeah, this is just like one single Ritz cracker with like a lot of hot sauce on it. Don't you guys do like hot wings or something like that? Nope, that's it. Also, aren't you supposed to eat them with me or something? No, I don't do that part. Oh, okay. That's a lot of hot sauce. Da bomb hot sauce. So there's like not even room for like a last dab. This is just like the only dab, and it's a freaking gigantic dab. Come on, go ahead. All right. Still stalling. How's it feeling? How does it taste? Ah! It's so bad every time! Oh my gosh, the bomb hits so hard. Oh man, I don't care. All right, let's get into the questions. All right, the first question comes from Ripstick2804, and they ask a really simple but time-tested question: Shrek 1 or Shrek 2? Listen, this is a question as old as time. Oh my gosh, that was so much. Let me flip it back on you and ask you this: ACOTAR or Fourth Wing? Some people have preference for one or the other, but I think there's one that might truly win out the discussion. I choose Shrek 2. All right, and this next question comes from Comfort Zone of the Internet and other people as well, but when are you going to read Iron Flame? And other books by Sarah J. Maas. Listen, I'm currently reading Iron Flame right now. I'm a really slow reader in that regard. Oh my gosh, it's everywhere on my tongue.
Do you see how I'm crying?
I'm almost done with Iron Flame. Don't worry, it's coming. It's just taking me a little while to get through this one. As far as Throne of Glass goes, as far as Crescent City goes, I'm probably going to read Throne of Glass sometime in the near future. But the thing is, I really want to diversify some more fantasy. I really want to diversify and read some different stuff. I'm just going to let you down right now and say that I'm probably not going to read Crescent City for a while because, first of all, those books are freaking huge. And second of all, again, I kind of want to read some other stuff before I get real deep into the SJM catalog. I'm probably not going to get to Crescent City for a while. All right, now Soleil Nay asks, what's the best show you've seen this year? What is the best show I've seen? Honestly, I do not watch too many TV shows these days, especially current ones, but I have been watching through Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, and it is phenomenal, so that's been really good. Also, Smiling Friends Season 2 just dropped, and so I want to start watching that soon, but I will give you a movie, because I do watch movies probably a little bit more often. Civil War is an incredible movie, and that's probably one of the best movies I've seen this year so far. All right, and then Cave Sitta 19 asks, can we get a bookshelf tour, or what titles you have on your bookshelf? Yeah, so one question, one answer. Have you ever wanted to become a snail? Your answer is yes. Come on down to Carrie the Snail's channel on YouTube, Carrie the Snail, and become a snail today with Carrie the Snail's membership, where you can become a snail today. When you become a snail, what will you see with your brand new slimy snail eyes? We got badges, extra snail content. We got polls where you can vote on what I read, watch, or play next. Oh my gosh. That's a deal. Tired of walking? Yep. For $2.99 a month, become a snail today, and you could do this. Oh, I could do that for $2.99? What are you waiting for? Just go to Carrie the Snail's YouTube channel, find the join button, and... you get extra snail-related content. Psst. More content straight into your bloodstream. More casual form content like reading logs, where I process my thoughts with you on what I'm currently reading or watching. Maybe even just vlogs. Grocery hauls? Sure, we could do that if you want. If you pay the subscription, it's all free after that. There's even polls where you can vote on things for the channel. When I finish reading a book, I'll throw a poll out there so you can vote. This is where you can bully me into what I read next. It's a snail membership. $2.99. Don't worry, becoming a snail comes with proof. You get a snail badge next to your name so you can prove to your mom that you're a snail now. Mom, look, see, I told you. Get out of my house right now. I am tired of this. Your dad and I are done. Jeffrey was a sad, non-mollusk kind of person. I always wanted to become a snail. I used to make snails bite me because I thought that they would do what that spider did for Spider-Man. It didn't work. Join Carry the Snails membership today, and for $2.99, you can become a snail today. Becoming a snail has never been easier. I'm a snail now. Come to Carry the Snails channel and become a member today. It's not what you asked for, but it is who you are now. It's too late. You're a snail now. Wow, that was a lot. By the way, if you're interested in that, I got a bookshelf tour in there that you can check out because I thought it would make a little bit more sense to have that as like a membership thing as opposed to something on my main channel. So you can check that out if you're interested. All right, well, this next one comes from Sarah SJ1. Shh, this is an important question. Are you starting to like the hot sauce? Listen, just because I've done this a lot doesn't mean I'm necessarily enjoying it anymore. These sauces, they're very hot. You see the moistness around my eyes? Do they taste good? They could, but because of the sheer spice levels, it scares me into being afraid of the flavor. Now, could I see myself maybe putting like a little drop of it in like a stew or something? Maybe. Have I done it yet? No, because I'd probably get PTSD. All right, now this is an interesting one from Not Aguilera 4107. What is a book series that you think would be a hard recommend, but you would still recommend anyways? Okay, so I go into this a little bit more on my bookshelf tour vid, but I'll say this. I got two answers. The first one would be One Piece. As far as a series that you follow with characters that have strong character development, crazy story arcs, incredible world building, and just a lot of goofy shenanigans. This is a really incredible series, but it's hard to recommend because it is so freaking long. I have been reading it since I was like 14, and I'm a grown adult now and I'm still reading this. So it is a tough sell for somebody, but I think it is an incredible series. A hard one to recommend, but I'd still recommend it anyways. As far as actual literature goes, it would be Dante's Divine Comedy. It's epic poetry, so it's not super accessible, and it has a lot of references, a lot of theology, a lot of symbology. Not really something to easily get into, but the story is incredible, and the way that Dante writes these story elements in terms of himself going through hell and meeting people there. It's such an incredible, imaginative, horrific story that I think is totally worth reading if you love fantasy and if you have loved works of literature that have inspired things like The Lord of the Rings. And in some ways, it's kind of like hip hop in the way that it's very self-referential to a lot of epic poetry that had come previously, but also Dante even writes in real people that he meets in hell, which is in one regard absolutely unhinged, but in another, like, such a compelling story element. So, yeah. Not an easy one to read, but one I would still recommend nonetheless. All right, 44 May is calling you out with this one. How do you feel when you go to the bookstore and buy a smut book? So luckily, the whole ACOTAR series I borrowed from someone, so I never had to go into the store, buy it, and kind of, make sure I had my ball cap on low, had some sunglasses so that people didn't recognize me. But I did buy Fourth Wing and Iron Flame in store, and I will be honest in saying that it was weird. I was definitely kind of waiting for the cashier to give me like a you're one of those guys kind of looks, Luckily he didn't. They have no shame. They can't judge you for what you buy, but I was waiting for it. Shoved the book in my backpack right out of the way, and then I blew out of there. All right, now here's a couple questions from Curry is So Goof. Who are some YouTubers that inspire your work? Do you have any pets? And if so, let me see it right now. And then last question, what's the story behind Carry the Snail? Yeah, this is a good question. I have quite a few people who have inspired me, but for very different reasons. First and foremost, and this is probably going to be the most obvious, Nakey Jakey. I probably have drawn the most amount of inspiration from him. And quite honestly, the only thing keeping me from identity theft in this regard is this microphone. Yeah, he was a huge inspiration and reason for me to get into this in the first place. Others that I draw a lot of inspiration from are like Drew Gooden, Brutal Moose, Channel 5, Chad, The Needle Drop, Video Game Donkey. These are just some of my favorite YouTube channels in general. I could talk a lot more about them, but let's get on to the next question, which is, do I have a pet? Yes, I do. His name is Kiko. He's kind of what you would call a dingus. Yeah, he really is interested whenever I'm shooting a video, and he often loves tearing up my green screen. What's the story behind Carrie the Snail? I swallowed it wrong. Next from Amara560, they ask, what's your favorite book now and from your childhood? That's hard. I don't know if I had a singular childhood favorite book. I loved, come on, the Harry Potter series. What can you say? I was also obsessed with the Pendragon series. I don't know if anybody read that. I absolutely loved the Pendragon series. Oh no, actually, one book I really loved as a kid was the City of Ember. Does anybody remember that book and that series? The series as a whole was like, all right, but I loved the City of Ember. I was just super fascinated with the idea of a city like underground and the way people would have to live accordingly. That was a great book. I was pretty obsessed with that book. And yeah, favorite book now, it's probably gonna have to be Dante's Inferno for reasons that I had previously talked about. Oh, that was a nasty burp. Oh, that was gross. Then this last question, but certainly not least, comes from Floptopus5685. Frickin' love that name. What made you decide to start a YouTube channel? Did you have a particular direction in mind when you made it? Oh, all right, it's died down a bit now. I've been watching YouTube for a long time now. Not so much when it first got popular, but when the rise of big YouTubers started to happen. You know, Smosh, PewDiePie, Markiplier. And while I loved YouTube, I loved the space, I loved its creators, I never really thought about making videos. It's not really what I thought I would do, but I definitely toyed with the idea here and there. But it wasn't until October 2021, and I remember this very, very specifically. I was watching a lot of Nakey Jakey at the time and just really fascinated by what he did, how creative he was, and also just thoughtful too, and just combining all those things in such an interesting and entertaining way. And I thought to myself, I was like, you know what? I think I could maybe do something like this. I really just kind of gave it a shot and tried my hand at a couple videos. But after a while, I was kind of really starting to, notice how saturated the video game space is on YouTube. And I have no idea why, but I really kind of tried to do some Let's Plays for a bit. I have no idea why I thought that would work. I was just trying stuff. Okay. And honestly, I'm still trying stuff. My wife suggested to me that I do a video about ACOTAR since I was reading it, and I had no idea that would do as well as it did. And that was so cool. And it was so cool to kind of go into a direction that people really liked and appreciated. I didn't really have a clear defined direction at the time when I started. I really was just kind of making things and seeing where it went. And so more recently, as I've had a little bit more experience making videos, I think I'm now starting to kind of refine my direction. I don't necessarily see myself being a book review channel. While I think I could do okay at it, I ultimately think it's just maybe a little bit limiting for the kind of things that I'm interested in. And so really after a lot more posts, I've been interested more in the idea of exploring something, and whether that's books or movies or video games or shows or even, Ludwig's book club. I'm really kind of interested in it all. And so that's not to say I'm gonna not do books. Reading really is an important part of who I am or who I was for a long time, but I had such a big gap where I stopped reading. And so to have you all come around me and not only keep me accountable to reading something new, but also sharing with me new things has been really, really cool and a really valuable experience. I think reading will definitely be a big part of my channel. I'm a huge believer in that it's really important to read things to inform the way that you think and act in the world. We have so many centuries of knowledge and storytelling at our fingertips, and it's such a privilege to be able to access that and learn from it. I don't think it means that I'm going to be reading every single book that comes across my way, but I think certainly things that stick out in the culture I'm very interested in for sure. And regardless, I just want to thank you all so much for watching my videos, responding with really kind comments. Honestly, you all have been super encouraging. Honestly, I can't believe I'm over 10K right now. That's such an honor, and I thank you all so much for being here with me along this journey and joining me on it. Wow, that was boring. Well, Carrie the Snail, thank you so much for joining us today on Hot Gums. And is there anything going on in your life that you want? Roll out the red carpet, look into the camera, and, you know, say the stuff to it. So if you're interested in the membership, my idea for it is just to have a lot more casual content that isn't as edited as the stuff that I'd like to do. And it's more of a direct way to communicate with me and interact with, you know, some of the stuff I make. I'm really kind of hoping for it to be a sort of back and forth thing. I'm going to do reading logs so I can kind of fill you in on some my thoughts, you know, as I'm reading through a book, process it with you. And if you have questions or want me to talk about something, you know, I could, you know, return a video, just speaking to those things directly. And yeah, I think if the membership goes well, I would really love to get to a point where I can maybe even turn it into like a book club or something, because a lot of you have been reading this stuff that either I have read or I've suggested, and this has been really cool to see. I don't have a Discord for it quite yet, but I think I will implement it if there's like enough people for it. Like, I'm not really gonna do it if there's only like a handful of people, but it's definitely something I would love to do at some point. But yeah, if that's something that at all interests you, or if you just want to support the channel and what I do, consider checking it out. I'd really appreciate it. But of course, watching my videos when you like them and when you comment them, that's like obviously very huge, and I really appreciate that. So yeah, I think that's about it. All right, that's enough. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning into another episode of Hot Gums, the show with hot sauce and even hotter gums. We'll see you next time. Kisses.